What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Real Danny D Show. I've got my good buddy, Mr. Robbie Reed, on the show with me today. And we're going to be talking all about Robert Pattinson, the new Batman. It's official. And Robbie's got some good thoughts. I haven't heard them yet, but I know that Robbie is very opinionated in a good way, and he is very enthusiastic with his opinion, so I'm very interested to see. But before we get into that, Robbie, what is going on? Let the listeners know a little bit about yourself, because obviously I know all about you.
What's going on, Danny? Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's a real honor. I appreciate it, man. I'm born and raised in Miami. I moved over to Fort Myers to go to school and to work, kind of make a name for myself. Long story short, I do music. I've recently been doing some YouTube reviews, on DC and Marvel comics, more specifically DC. And I'm going to start on the Arrowverse here in a few weeks. To just kind of go through, because you know this, I'm a huge nerd, and I love this stuff. I have a Flash tattoo on my chest, for Christ's sake, like, come on. So I just I love all these things. So I'm definitely excited to get into this topic today with you, and I just want to share my thoughts with the world. That's why I created the YouTube channel, just to give fellow nerds a way to tell me their thoughts, on DC and Marvel. Marvel's the big bad, in the cinematic universe, and DC's kind of making a little headway, but still behind them, But I like DC more than Marvel, just because it's a little darker. It's got more relatable heroes, and I don't know, man. It's my bread and butter, So again, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on the show, and I'm looking forward to sharing my thoughts with you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you taking the time to join me.
Sure.
I think before we preface this, so you said that you are more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan, which is fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which makes your opinion, in my thought process, this makes your opinion a lot more straightforward than mine, because I'm a Marvel fan more so than DC. So that's what's interesting to me here, because we might have differing opinions on Robert Pattinson. We might think the same. We might we're shooting it. We're shooting right now. We did not discuss this. We didn't do any
Yeah.
All right, let's point and counterpoint. We didn't do any of that. So that's why this is going to be fresh. It's going to be fun. Before we jump into that, I know you said DC is a little bit behind Marvel as far as their cinematic universe is concerned.
Oh, yeah.
Which film did you think started them in the right direction?
To be completely honest, I believe for DC, the film that kind of got them back on the map, or films, I should say, is the Dark Knight trilogy. It's still considered part of the older DC franchise, but nonetheless, it's DC, because this newer franchise, I'm sure is called the DCEU, the DC Extended Universe. Yep. So I think the Dark Knight series, Christian Bale, that just shot them right up, because Christian Bale is one heck of a Batman. It's going to be hard to beat that. I will say, though, Ben Affleck as an older Batman is great. In the comics, the older Batman, he's, rugged. He wants to end this whole Caped Crusader fight, but there's no one who can replace him and, defend Gotham the way he would. So of course he has to keep doing it until he just physically cannot anymore. And, that's where we get Robert Pattinson in. And I, again, have some interesting thoughts about that. But again, the Dark Knight series, that is what got DC a little bit more attention, and then I don't really remember. I think there was a Superman Returns movie that came out with Brandon Routh is his name, Routh, and that was bad. That was bad.
That was Man of Steel. Yeah.
Yeah, Man of Steel was great, but no, Man of Steel was not. Wait, hold on. I'm getting my movies mixed up. Superman Returns was what Brandon Routh was in, and Man of Steel was what Henry Cavill's in. There we go.
Correct.
That was good. But Superman Returns, no. Caca. But yeah, man,
Did you enjoy Batman versus Superman?
Whew. All right. I actually did a review for this on my channel, and overall, I will say I like the movie, the preface behind the movie, because Batman and Superman have multiple incursions in the comics and even in the series, animated series. So, I liked that it was a Batman versus Superman movie, but the movie itself was just lacking. They rushed things. Some things made no sense, and the worst thing, and I think listeners will probably agree with this, was Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Like, whoever agreed to that, man, they must have been on something else that day, because that was not a good choice, bro. He's not that good in a role like that. He's more of the comical actor, in my opinion, not the serious, diabolical supervillain character. Like, what were your thoughts on Batman vs Superman? Like, did you like it?
I didn't care for the theatrical version. I thought for my liking, there were way too many plot holes in it. I enjoyed the extended version because it had all of those extra scenes that they, in my opinion, should not have cut out. But the extended version was just so damn long.
Yeah, dude.
Like, that was my biggest guff with it. Was okay.
It's like almost 3 hours.
Yeah, it was like 3 hours and 23 minutes or something like that. It was nuts.
Too long. Too long.
It was like one of those where I liked it because I got the complete story, but I hated that I had to watch an extended version of a movie to get the full story. You know what I mean?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
That was my big issue with it.
It shouldn't have been. There shouldn't have been. There shouldn't have needed to be a room for that. Like the same thing with Suicide Squad. They have the theatrical version and then the extended version, and it's the same thing, man. Yep. The extended version is better than the theatrical version because there's scenes in there that you're like, oh snap! Wait, he did what? Like it just. I don't understand why they wouldn't just go with certain things in these movies, because I'm not sure if some of the listeners have seen these movies yet, because believe it or not, some of my friends haven't even seen Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman, which I don't know how.
Are they even friends?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, are they even friends? Like, come on, dude, you know what this is. But it just I don't get, DC, they have so many different avenues to go with these heroes, mainly because of time travel. In both universes there's time travel, but take into account the Flash. Okay, he creates 52 different universes or multiple universes in the multiverse, and then there's Flashpoint, and then there's all these different things that happen with time travel, different universes, different timelines. There's endless possibilities, like there's endless possibilities of things you could do. So it's curious. It's curious the decisions that the creators of DC and Warner Brothers make in some of these movies, like Aquaman, for example. I love Jason Momoa, Amber Heard. She looked great in that movie, fine as ever. Good Lord. But that movie still lacked a little bit of essence. Like it was comical. It was pretty fast paced, but not too fast paced. Enough that you could follow with the story. But at the same time, it's still lacked a little bit of essence in the fact that I kind of wanted more, and I wasn't disappointed with the movie, but I felt like there should have been more in it. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it absolutely does.
Okay. I felt like I was just rambling there for a minute.
No, you're good, because for being a long movie, like, there definitely should have been more, because in the grand scheme of things, like, your typical movie is like 80. You know what I mean? It's like 80 to 95 minutes is your typical average length of a movie. So if you're beyond that 95-minute mark, like, there should be a reason. There should be some serious stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of movies that I've watched to where you're like, you're still watching it, and you're like, why is this movie still going? Like, I've enjoyed this movie, but why is this still going? It should have ended 15, 20 minutes ago.
Yep, Suicide Squad. Literally.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I like that we're going through this and, like, preface, and going through the timeline of this.
Yeah, I thought about that as we were doing it. I'm like, oh wow, we didn't even plan this, but this is actually working out really well because the whole Batman thing. But continue what you were saying. My bad.
No, you're fine. So like Suicide Squad, I've seen Suicide Squad probably 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I still couldn't tell you if I like it or dislike it. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Because every time I watch the movie, like my wife and I just watched it again the other day. Every time I watch the movie, I'll pick up new parts where I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But then I'll pick up other parts where it's, oh, why was that in here? Like, this is really a Will Smith movie that everybody else just happens to be in.
Yeah. Yes, dude. Okay. So you agree then that like Will Smith, Jared Leto, and Margot Robbie were probably the 3 best parts of that, like 3 best appearances in that movie. Aside from other characters like Rick Flagg's character and Diablo's character, they were pretty good too. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it just seemed again like it was more of a Will Smith Deadshot kind of movie, and everybody else was incorporated. Wow, that's a great point, man. Good job. That was really good.
I get zingers every now and then. But yeah, especially Jared Leto what did he have, 9 minutes of total screen time in the entire movie?
Oh, they did that man wrong in that movie, bro.
I like, okay, first and foremost, I didn't like the look of the Joker in Suicide Squad. I thought
really?
Jared...
You didn't like his look?
I didn't like the look. I didn't like his look. Like, he was more
what
of
do you think about him actually being the Joker?
Yeah, because, like, okay, this is either going to sound really funny or really bad. But, like, when I look at the Joker and I see this pale guy with gold chains and a grill, I think of, like, all of the other white kids I went to high school with.
Fair enough.
And for me, I'm not a fan of that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fan of that particular look. I'm not gonna put him up against Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson. It was his own standalone Joker character. Like, I don't think that's fair. Even if his look fit what I wanted him to look like, I still wouldn't compare him. Because he had no screen time. You did not get nearly enough of Jared Leto as the Joker, in my honest opinion, to make a definitive decision whether he was a good Joker or a bad Joker.
I agree 100%. I even said that in my review of Suicide Squad with my roommate on my YouTube channel, which I'll send that to you later if you want to check it out. But the Joker was lacking so much in this movie. Now, whenever you saw him on screen, like case in point, when I saw him on screen, I literally got not like this intense chills of like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest Joker ever. No, it was just chills as in like, this is one of my favorite comic book villains, and he's being shown on screen. And then just when you are getting, you think you're like, oh man, okay, we're gonna get a little more of him. Bam, they pan back to like the Suicide Squad or something else that's going on in the movie. And it's just kind of like a letdown, like I want to see more of this Joker. I personally think that Jared Leto did a great job acting as the Joker, but I will agree with the fact that I don't really like the grills and the chains. I do like the tattoos. That is a snazzy touch. I do like that. I just don't really like the grills and the chains, mainly because like that's not really his MO. And, it kind of seemed like they were, like, forcing that kind of MO on him, making him, like, touch the chains a lot and move around with it and kind of do, like, the whole gangsta thing, which that's cool if you want to, make him a little more of a gangsta Joker. But, I don't know, kind of give him that coat, give him the coat, have the coat open, and then, show, like, the tattoos and stuff. I think that would have been better. Add a little more comic book Joker-esque to their modern Joker,
Yeah, there's a fine line, and you can travel along that line. You can toe it and make it make sense to where you can give a little bit of like a modern new school look and a bit of the old school comic look, and you can make it work. I don't think that they made it work like I said, to my liking. That doesn't mean that it, not what I say goes, but that for my own liking, what I did like about Jared Leto as the Joker is kind of like what you said. When he was on the screen, I enjoyed it. And maybe that also could be in part that he wasn't there enough. You know what I mean? Maybe it's one of those, those Jedi mind trick things to where, so let's say they shot all of this film with Jared Leto as the Joker, and he had 30 minutes of screen time. But somebody didn't think that he was that good. Let's just throw that out there. Let's say somebody didn't think that he was that good, so they cut it down. And they cut it down significantly enough to where, holy crap, now he's on the screen, now I'm enjoying it, now I love it. Let's play devil's advocate for a second and say maybe that's part of the reason.
Oh, you're thinking maybe it's somebody like in the actual editing and on the team was like, I don't really feel like he's a good Joker, so let's edit this a little bit and see what the main guys think, and then they just kind of went with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually I wouldn't put it past Hollywood. To be honest, I wouldn't put it past them because it just doesn't make sense how he didn't get that much time. Like the way how he was, it just, I don't know, man. He pulled it off to me. Like he really did pull it off. So I am curious, but it sucks. It does suck that he didn't really get another movie or another chance. But now that I'm thinking about it, didn't they say that he's returning as the Joker, or is he not returning as the Joker? At least in the Suicide Squad world, because there's a second one coming out.
Yeah, so I've read a couple articles, and they're kind of countering each other. I've read, obviously, we know Joaquin Phoenix is going to be the Joker.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Which that movie's going to be awesome.
I think he's like legit psychotic, so I think he's going to be perfect.
Yeah, that trailer, dude, that trailer was just like, it was eerie, how he was with him and his mom, and then just, oh my gosh, man, like I got chills from that trailer because it was like, wow, this actually might be one of the best Jokers that we see on screen, because I do love Joaquin Phoenix as an actor. He is amazing.
Yep.
So that's going to be awesome.
But I did read, so I read something along the lines of Jared Leto will return as the Joker, but it was kind of like will it be in the second Suicide Squad movie, or will there be a flashpoint created within the extended universe?
Now, oh man, you have to send me that article later, bro, because I need to read that. Because Flashpoint and time travel and alternate universes, that is my thing. Like, I love that, man. And the animated Flashpoint movie is amazing. I reviewed that as well. It was more of like a description than a review, but that is just crazy. If that's the case, then that would work out perfect. Have a Flashpoint Joker and then like an actual real-time Joker. That's awesome. I hope that's true.
That would be.
They need to stop slacking on that Flash movie.
They do, man. They really do. So we'll roll through the timeline here. So after Suicide Squad, obviously we get Wonder Woman, and
oh man, whew.
For me, I think this is where the DC movies took a huge leap forward.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed every aspect of this movie. Personally,
absolutely.
From the
Wonder
Woman. To
the
story to everything.
Agreed. That was just beautiful, man. It took too long for me to actually see it, I will say. But when I finally saw it, I think I watched it like twice in the same day. Like I watched it, and then I kind of like did something else, and then I watched it again because it was that good. Not only because I love Gal Gadot, but just because of the fact that she brought Wonder Woman to the big screen in a beautiful way. She just embodied the warrior princess like perfectly,
Yes.
And everybody that was in it, Chris Pine, I do like Chris Pine, and he was great as Captain Steve Trevor too. His whole squad, everything about the movie was beautiful, set in like I think it was the 1920s ish, around World War One. So it was perfect, man. And yeah, you're right. DC took a huge leap forward with this movie, because I think it was one of the best grossing films when it first came out. Wonder Woman was, and I think DC fans will agree that this movie definitely it did help them, bring DC up a little bit. And if what I hear is true about Wonder Woman 1982, then, whew, man, that's going to be another Wonder Woman movie that'll definitely put DC a little bit more on the map too. Because I firmly believe DC could be right where Marvel is. They've just made too many mistakes along the way,
Yeah, I think and this is what we'll get into in a little bit. And I think they changed character. They changed actors for their characters too much.
Yes.
But I think, Gal Gadot is a great actress. She brought, and I mean, if we want to be technical about it, she came out obviously well before Captain Marvel, so DC won that.
Yeah.
That battle of getting a female superhero out. And I don't think a lot of people credit DC enough for that particular scenario of, people in this day and age, a lot of people will go for I don't want to say the political correctness, but that was a big thing, was Captain Marvel. Oh my gosh, it's Marvel's first leading female superhero.
Oh,
yeah. But don't forget, 2 years ago, we already had this with Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman. Like, where's that conversation? That conversation never has happened. I don't remember that even happening then. So
yeah, because people like to crap on DC, man. It doesn't make sense.
Yep, it's true. And so, speaking of crapping on DC, after Wonder Woman, we go to the Justice League, which for some reason completely flopped. It got terrible reviews. People crapped on it all over the place, high and low and in between. And what did you think about the Justice League?
All right, bro. Here we go. Be prepared, my man. Be prepared. And you listeners, be prepared, because I'm going to preach here in a minute. So, I personally think I'm gonna go off the reviews from IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, other YouTubers, and then I'll say mine, if that's cool.
Absolutely.
I see why they would, or the mass populace would dislike. No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop being nice. I would see why the mass populace would hate and detest the Justice League movie. It's because, one, man, it was way too rushed, okay? I mean, if you look at Marvel, they did the standalone movies before they even did the first Avengers movie, so it made a little more sense when they all teamed up, and you already knew and connected with a lot of the characters. So you're like, oh, okay, there's Thor. Oh, there's Iron Man. There's Captain America. There's Black Widow. Oh my God, they're all coming together. Oh, this is gonna be awesome. And then you go over to Justice League, and then you see The Flash, you see Cyborg, you see Aquaman, you see Wonder Woman, you see Batman and Superman, and you're like, wait, whoa, hold up, wait a minute, time out, offsides, traveling, what's going on here? There's so many heroes all ganging up together, and I didn't even know that they were part of this. What happened? Obviously, if you're a true DC fan, you'll know how the Justice League plays out with in the comics, and then the DC Rebirth they did in 2016, and even the Justice League War movie. There's a couple people missing from the actual Justice League, so that was red flag number one for real fans. They're like, well, where's so and so and so and so? I'm not going to say too much because I want the listeners to have some mystery, right. but they just messed up with the whole cast. Well, I take that back. I'm sorry. The cast was good. The actors, at first I really hated Ezra Miller. And I dogged on Ezra Miller, and my best friend, Anthony Perez, love that guy. He got me into YouTube. He's the guy that I talk to all this stuff about, and he's actually going to help me with my mini series that I would love for you to be part of, man, if you are interested in that sort of thing. But
absolutely.
He made a great point when I was hating on Ezra Miller. He's like, okay, Rob, look at this fact. Look at how he acts as Barry, not how he acts as the Flash. Look at how he acts as Barry. And in one scene, one scene with him and Bruce Wayne, I know you know what I'm talking about. That kind of actually like got me to like chuckle a little bit because it was like a great Bruce Wayne and Barry scene. So that's probably like the only really great thing to me in the movie was just because like in the comics, Bruce Wayne and Barry actually work good together when it comes to like detective work. But these reviews that I've seen, you know, it talks about the whole rushing thing, and then there's that big thing that happens in the movie, you know, where they need to, you know, get someone, and that just kind of, I did not like that. That was just like that one fell just flat on its face, and two, I kind of feel like that was forced. You feel me? Like I feel like they forced that in there because of the ending of Batman vs Superman, so they had to like, oh, who's the only one that can help with this? Oh, wham. Like, no, come on, bro. What are you doing? Why do we need to do this?
Right,
why are we rushing this crap?
For sure.
All right, so we'll move on from that. One other major thing that I saw in the reviews that makes a lot of sense, or doesn't make a lot of sense, is again the whole rushing thing, but the fact that like it wasn't even really about the true nature of what happens in the like what happens to like actually get the Justice League to work together. And like kind of like mini spoiler, but not a real spoiler, is in the Justice League War movie. It's an animated movie. There's a supervillain in the DC universe who is kind of like Thanos in the Marvel universe, except DC's villain is big villain like that is Darkseid. And if you know who Darkseid is, he is a boss, like a boss among bosses. Like any rendition of Justice League that's come out, animated, comic book, whatever, you see that Darkseid is involved. And that's like a major part of the whole Justice League like coming together. And it sucks that like he was kind of hinted at in the movie, but not really. You know, like it wasn't like a really big thing. You'd have to like really pay attention to like a certain scene to know that it involved Darkseid if you didn't know ahead of time. So it's just I'm talking about more of like a comic book fan kind of thing. This is maybe not like what other people think, but I personally think that they definitely should have at least showed him like how they showed Thanos in like other Marvel movies. You know, like even if it was just like a quick little thing, you see his eyes.
Right.
You knew who it was, and you're like, oh, crap, that's the big bad. Okay, so whoever is the agent that's on Earth right now creating havoc, he doesn't mean anything. This is the real big bad, so let's see what happens. I feel like if they incorporated that into this Justice League movie, that would have made it 10 times better, a lot better reception. But, you know, again, DC, they rushed it, man. They were trying to compete too hard. You know, they should have played the waiting game, the patient game, to have the standalone movies keep coming out, you know, and then, bam, if they would have waited a little bit, you know, then release Justice League, that would have been perfect. Instead, you know, they got a little bit of caca. So I don't know. It just did not, it was good. I liked it because, you know, I'm a little nerd and I love anything DC related. And even though it has its flaws, I'm still going to love it. But yeah, man, that was a big flop. It didn't really do good for the DC franchise. What about you? What did you think about the Justice League? I'm definitely curious to hear your thoughts.
So I actually kind of on the contrary, man. And this is where I really started like trying to overanalyze movies, for better or for worse, was with this particular movie. Because I wanted to like this movie going in. And I think because I wanted to like it so bad, I did enjoy it, minus a few of the little slip-ups, you know, which are the same ones that you talked about. One of the biggest things that I have with an issue with when it comes to the DC movies, and I get it that you have your different universes and stuff, I really wish... As much as I really like Ezra Miller, I really wish Grant Gustin was the Flash.
Oh my! All right, my man. I'm sorry. I'm a huge fanboy of. Okay, sorry. Continue your thought. I'll say something after.
For the same reason, like that's why I enjoy Marvel, right? Like I can watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I'm still gonna see the same actors. I can watch go back and watch Agent Carter, and I'm going to see the same actors, whether it's the TV series or the cinematic universe, because what the hell, right? That's like, for me, that's what I did not like. And I love Ezra Miller. I thought Ezra Miller was fantastic as Barry Allen. For me, I did not like Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Oh, wow. Really?
I didn't like it for the fact that I felt like they were trying, like they said, watch the Thor movies and try to be Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that.
That's how I felt about him. Now we'll get into it later on because I really, really, really liked Aquaman. But my initial thoughts watching this were, point blank period, I freaking hate Superman. I don't care who plays Superman. You know, Shawn Michaels, my all-time favorite wrestler, like my idol growing up, can play Superman and I'll freaking hate it. I hate the comic book character of Superman. So
I understand, dude. No, trust me, I understand.
That's part of the reason maybe I enjoyed Justice League so much. Because he was not around for most of it.
I get it. Yeah, dude, I'd have to agree. Not to cut you, but I'd have to agree because, in my opinion, and this is probably going to be the same for you, you'll probably be like, yes, Rob, yes. Superman just seems way too overpowered, man. I get it.
Yep.
He comes from another planet. You know, he seems like a savior, but it just seems like no matter what, nobody can beat Superman. Even if you beat Superman, he'll come back. You know, like it just like all the heroes can come back, but like Superman is like the OG, and you can't touch him. That's pretty much it. Like I don't know. I just think that there's so much better and more unique heroes than Superman.
My thought, you stole the thoughts right out of my head. Like honestly, I don't like that anything. Like when we watch Batman versus Superman, I'm like, why is Superman just destroying? They filmed it in Detroit, so that hit home. But like, why are you just destroying all of these buildings? Like, Spider-Man's not destroying buildings. Iron Man's not trying to destroy buildings. Like, you're just like deliberately flying through them and destroying them. Dude.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
Come on.
Yeah, but he's protecting the Earth, though, dude. Don't forget it. He's protecting the Earth, but he's destroying it at the same time.
It's kind of like human beings, but I digress.
Oh, wow. Damn. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
But I like the casting. I love J.K. Simmons. The only issue I have with J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon is when I see him in a comic book movie, I immediately think of J. Jonah Jameson every time.
J. Jonah Jameson, man.
Every freaking time I see him, I'm like, you're not Commissioner Gordon. You run the newspaper, bro. Go back to your job.
Yeah, for real, man. That's like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I can't unsee that.
That to me is that's kind of where it is. I did enjoy Ben Affleck as that latest rendition of Batman, as like you said, the older Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
I liked it. I thought it was cool to see him, getting a little older. But I mean, the casting for this was so good. The one thing that I noticed, and I don't know if you noticed this, and I noticed it right away before I even remembered that there was a change in screenplay. Because I remember Chris Terrio started the movie, and then Joss Whedon, who did the Avengers, finished the movie. If you watch the movie, you can legitimately tell by watching the movie when that change started. And especially now that I've told you that, because the colors are a little different, the actors are moving a little bit different, they're speaking just little subtleties. But it feels, halfway through the movie, it feels more like a Marvel Avengers movie than it does a DC movie. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, that they went that route, because clearly what Marvel's doing is working. Right?
Yeah, for real.
But that's what I noticed is, okay, so the color, like you can, like legitimately, you can see the colors. You can see the coloring difference. just by when they switched. And now if you rewatch it, you'll notice it. You'll shoot me a text and be like, "Holy crap, I found it."
Yeah, I probably will.
But I did not hate this movie at all. I really liked it. I thought that it got unfair criticism. I know it was rushed, like you said, and I completely get that. Being a comic book nerd, I already knew all of the characters that were in it anyway. So for me, it wasn't like, oh, hey, who is this? Like now Roxy, when we watched it, she didn't know who Cyborg was. Obviously, she knew who the Flash was. She didn't care who Aquaman was. She just knew Jason Momoa from Game of Thrones, and he didn't wear a shirt, so she was happy. You know, he was the eye candy in the movie, and I get it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know, Amy Adams is a great Lois Lane.
I agree 1,000%. She is awesome.
Diane Lane is one of my favorite actresses. You can put her in any role, and I'm going to like her. So I thought the casting was good. I thought the movie was good. For what it was still, for me, it was still a step in the right direction. Was it as big of a leap as Wonder Woman? Hell no. It was not. But it was a step in the right
definitely
direction.
Not. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I have my quips with it, but I do like it. My main thing was I definitely defend it. Like, you know, I will tell what's wrong in it. That's what I do in my review of it. I definitely say what's wrong with it. But overall, hell, I'll rewatch it, you know, this minute. You know what I mean? Because it's Justice League. You know, it's like my favorite DC heroes, minus some of them. But still, it definitely got a lot more hate than it deserved. I see what people's like problems with it are. However, I still don't think it deserved as much hate as it's getting. You know?
Nope, absolutely not. It did not, one bit. And this is coming from a guy who doesn't really care for DC comics. Like, that's me.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at my like if you look at my man cave, outside of like wrestling stuff, it's all Marvel. There's not a thing. The only thing that I have that's DC on here is old inventory from my business I used to run. Like, that's legitimately it. And so I feel like for me to say, okay, I enjoyed this movie. Like, what in the heck were you thinking going into this movie that you hated it that much? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for real. Like, that's my point. Like, what's going on here? Like, these people are like bashing this movie, and I'm like, okay, I get it. You know, it's no Avengers or it's no Age of Ultron, Infinity War. I get it, but yo, chill out. Like, it's still good. You know, it's just got issues like any other movie. Yep. I think it's just because, you know, one of my friends said something the other day about like how people are bashing Game of Thrones and all this stuff. And I think nowadays it's more popular to hate something that is widely loved by people than to actually, you know, like it and like, you know, appreciate what it is.
Absolutely.
It's sad. It's sad.
I think that's the social media world that we live in now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But yeah, it is definitely, it is unfortunate because things like Justice League was not a bad movie. Wonder Woman, no. as good as Wonder Woman was, Wonder Woman still got some hate for it. Batman vs Superman got completely chewed up and spit out. Suicide Squad got absolutely destroyed by fans and critics. It's like, what exactly do you want? Because you can't have Marvel Comics style movies with DC Comics. That doesn't work. They're not the same.
Yep.
But I feel like... Well, I was just saying, but like I feel like Aquaman actually kind of combined both of those thoughts. In my opinion. Like,
I completely agree, man.
And that's where, for some reason, I don't know what clicked, but I love Jason Momoa as Aquaman now. I don't know what exactly it did, but like I said, when I saw Justice League, it's like the one downfall for that movie for me was Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Then I watch Aquaman and go, he's a great Aquaman.
That's crazy you say that, man, because I actually, in my review, said that one of the reasons that I think Justice League wasn't that terrible, or like not that terrible, that it was good and like I loved it, is because of Aquaman in the movie, like Jason Momoa in the movie. He added some like interesting humor, nice like comedy, you know, him and Barry, and just I don't know, it just he added, for me personally, he added more to the essence of the film. And Ben Affleck, again, you know, he was even better in this than Batman vs Superman, you know, especially like when you see this specific scene where like Superman is there and he gets thrown by Superman and he's injured, and you know, and he's like coming in trying to take off his costume, and you could see him as the old guy, the old Bruce Wayne and Batman. And I think that particular moment was perfect, you know, in the cinematography of the movie. That was perfect to really show you the type of Batman that Ben Affleck is portraying. And I really am sad that he retired as Batman. Like, oh man, well, what can you do?
It's true. Now, have you seen Shazam? I have not seen Shazam.
I have not seen Shazam yet, and I'm slacking because I really want to go see that. He's actually one of my top DC heroes, and as well in the Justice League War movie, he's in it. He's actually part of the first interaction with the Justice League, and like every rendition you see. So that's why it also kind of was a little bit of a miss for me, because you're missing Green Lantern and Shazam. It just I get what, Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds, that was garbage. Oh my goodness. Wow, we won't even talk about that movie. But I haven't seen Shazam, and I've heard nothing but really good things about it. So I have no doubts that it's a great movie. I definitely need to go see it.
So let me throw this one at you then. If they remake a Green Lantern movie, who's your Green Lantern?
Well, okay. If we're gonna do Hal Jordan Green Lantern,
yes.
This is tough. Let's see. Hal Jordan Green Lantern. Have you seen? I can't remember this guy's name. Have you seen the Limitless TV show?
I have not, but I know who you're talking about.
The lead guy in that, to be honest with you, if he works out a little bit, I think I could see him being Hal Jordan. That's not my top choice, but that's one of them. To be honest with you, I really can't think of a Hal Jordan. If we want to go Jon Stewart, I'd say either Idris Elba or no, just Idris Elba. That's all I could see as Green Lantern.
Now, do you?
Or actually, the guy. Sorry.
Go ahead. Finish.
All right. The other person I could see as a Jon Stewart for Green Lantern would be David Paul Ramsey. He plays John Diggle in Arrow. Yep. I could definitely see him as John. Actually, I could see him more as Jon Stewart than Idris Elba. But that's my thought on that. Do a Jon Stewart Green Lantern and have him meet up with Hal. You know what I mean? Like have both of them in the movie. Well, it's just kind of like one of them is a cameo. It doesn't matter who it is, but have one of them as a cameo, and it's like, oh, well, what are you doing here? Well, what are you doing? And then have that lead into another movie. Like a sequel of Green Lantern, or maybe something with the Justice League, because there's so many directions you can go with the Justice League. They go on so many different incursions. Like, it's just endless cinema, like that you could make with DC. But who knows? In the years to come, I don't know. Maybe they'll hear this and they'll be like, you know what? That guy was right.
Right? What's his Twitter? We need to reach out to this guy here.
Yeah, for real, man.
I think for me, that's where the hard part lies, is because you have the different universes and the different Earths in DC. So you said you've got Hal Jordan, you've got Jon Stewart. Who else do you have? You have Guy Gardner. So you have all of
there's
these...
Guy, there's Kyle, there's Kilowog, there's all these people. Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz are like the two newest ones in like the DC Rebirth in 2016, and I actually have read all those comics with them. And wow, I really like Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, because one, there's a female Green Lantern, and she's like a really big part of it. That's really crucial for the female community. And two, there's Simon Baz, who is I think Arabian or something from the Middle East, and that's really he's Lebanese.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so that's really, really huge, because in the comic, you've read it, like he and his family, they get ostracized because of his culture.
Yep.
And it's crazy because that applies nowadays. It doesn't matter like where you're from. If you're not from here, you get somewhat ostracized. So I think that kind of adds some huge essence to the DC world, the superhero world, and in real life, because people reading that who are from a different culture will be like, wow, that's crazy. They took like a real life issue, put it into this comic, and like made it work out to where like, sometimes the people that you ostracize are the people that you end up needing. And that's something to really apply to countries nowadays, especially our own. So I think that is really crucial for, one, the female community, as I said, and two, for just other cultures in general. Like that you could go in any direction with the Green Lantern, which is awesome.
That is a hell of a point that I never actually put together that you just made there.
Oh, man,
I really, really like that point that you just made, is the people that you ostracize, you need. You might not need them right away, but you're going to need them at some point.
You're going to need them at the most crucial point.
I like that. That is a really interesting perspective to put on there. So,
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no, I really like. I'm just sitting there going, "Damn, Robbie's spitting knowledge at me here."
Sometimes I can snap off, bro. Sometimes I can snap. Don't worry.
There you go. All right, so I think it's time to get to the conversation of the hour here.
Yes, it is.
This is the reason why you and I are officially doing this, really. It's been a long time coming, but we finally were able to make this work, and I feel like it's at a great point in time. I will let you take the floor on this 100%. Robert Pattinson as Batman. Robbie Reed, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, let's get it. So, I personally, before I even say anything, I don't want anybody to get the idea that I'm just a hater of Robert Pattinson because of Twilight, because that's what a lot of people are hating on him about, is because of Twilight. And of course, yes, that does have some, some bearings for me in regards to him being Batman. I see the shimmering, shiny, Edward Cullen. But at the same time, he's been in a lot of other things other than that. So I can't really hate him. And to be honest, he wasn't that terrible in Twilight. I didn't like Twilight, but he wasn't that terrible, He wasn't the best. So to see him be someone as serious as Batman, I think he could definitely pull off the seriousness factor. It's just the whole Bruce Wayne playboy moneybags guy. I'm curious to see him be. But what I think personally of the direction that they're going, I saw one article, and I think if they do this specific thing with Robert Pattinson, it will be golden. It will be golden. And that is him being Terry McGinnis as Batman Beyond. Now, if they have an older Batman in there, like just not an older Batman, sorry, older Bruce Wayne, and, they incorporate Robert Pattinson as Terry, as Batman Beyond, then we got ourselves a great movie. To be honest with you, I could totally see that. But if we're going to do just another remake of Batman, have him be like a younger, like in his like younger 30s or later 20s. Yeah, that could be good. But we've kind of seen that already with Christian Bale, in Batman Begins. We've already kind of seen that. So younger Batman would be great again, but I personally would love to see them go the route of Terry McGinnis, the futuristic Batman Beyond, and have them use like the Wayne tech and all these like gadgets, like advanced gadgets and advanced weaponry, and like the futuristic in like Batman Beyond, the TV show, they had like multiple Jokers. I think they were just called the Jokers because they were just like Joker followers. And to have them come in and, that would be great, man. So if they do Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond, I'll give him a shot. I believe everyone deserves a second chance in stuff they do. Maybe they made bad decisions. I definitely think Twilight was a bad decision. But again, he's been in other things. I personally haven't seen him, but others have, and they've said he's been okay in them. So I'll have to give it to him. I don't like that he's going to be Batman because of Ben Affleck. I really wish that Ben Affleck was still going to be Batman and they were doing the older Batman. However, on the other side of things, I'm willing to give him a shot, see what he's got, wow me, bring Batman to the big screen the way you see and the directors see fit and do the best you can. And we'll take it from there. When it comes out, we'll see how you do. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. We're in 2019 now. I think people can adjust to certain acting styles. You have to, you're getting paid to. But we're in 2019 now. We've done like hundreds of Batman movies. Let's get a Batman Beyond movie. Come on, let's get a Batman Beyond movie. I personally think they should go in a Batman Beyond route. And again, if they do, bam, we've got a darn good Terry McGinnis, and Batman Beyond. Like he has that look, He's scrawny. He's got that like serious, like quote unquote bad boy look. And like in the poster that I've seen, like just the thumbnail, I've seen of like when they officially cast him, he's wearing something that kind of looks like what Terry would wear, like in the cartoon. So I don't know, man. I really am hoping that, they're just saying, oh, he's cast as Batman, but they don't really say anything else yet until a promo comes out and then they say Batman Beyond. That would be awesome. You know what? Screw it. You heard it here first, folks, on this show. It's going to be Robert Pattinson as Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond. I'm calling it. And if I'm wrong, well, whatever. What about you, Danny? What's your thoughts on Mr. Robert Pattinson as the new Batman?
So I'm with you where I do not dislike Robert Pattinson because of Twilight. I was talking with my wife about this, and she hates Robert Pattinson as Batman. She hasn't actually given me a reason why, but she hates it. And she loves Twilight. So think about that for a second. What I told her was, people say Robert Pattinson was a terrible actor in Twilight, right? And that's why a lot of people can't get around it. I saw all of the Twilight movies, but I saw them not wanting to like them. If that makes sense, coming from
No, it makes perfect sense.
Coming from a guy's perspective, right? I didn't want to like them. I watched them for the same reason that I've watched The Notebook 4 or 5 times. Now that I enjoy The Notebook for what it is, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But
I get you.
So Robert Pattinson, maybe he was a bad actor in the Twilight series. Or maybe he acted exactly the way they wanted him to, and he's a great actor.
There's the other side of the spectrum, yeah.
I can't answer that because I haven't seen him in I don't want to say a series. Like, I saw him in Remember Me. That was in between the Twilight movies. That came out after the first one, but it came out after the second one, I think, and then before the last one. I haven't seen him in a lot of. Obviously, he was in Harry Potter, but he wasn't in Harry Potter very long either. So, for what I have personally seen of Robert Pattinson, I don't have enough to say he's a terrible actor. He's going to be an awful Batman. I don't have enough on my palate for me to honestly say that. What I will say is I like that they're going with somebody who's younger as Batman, as Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Whether it's a regular Batman again or the Batman Beyond, which I had absolutely never thought of. So, again, you just spit some knowledge on me. And I really enjoyed that whole idea behind it. But I'm fine with him either way because you've got Jason Momoa, who is young. You've got Gal Gadot, who is young. You've got Ezra Miller, who is young. But
true.
You have Henry Cavill, who is young. But then you've got old-ass Ben Affleck. Right?
Oh, true, yeah.
So I feel like he ties in more with what they're trying to do, because if DC is really sitting here and trying to make a cinematic universe leading up to something and I don't. You have to just draw the parallels, obviously, with Marvel. But if they're trying to make a trilogy with Batman, won't it go over a hell of a lot better with a younger Batman that's not going to change how he looks too much, like Ben Affleck will over the next 10 years?
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
That's the way I look at it for me personally, is I like it. He does have that kind of pretty boy, kind of badass, kind of depressed look. But is that not what Bruce Wayne is?
Yeah, literally all like just spitting image.
Like, so for me, like, that's why when I take a step back and go, huh, okay, so Robert Pattinson looks like the perfect Bruce Wayne as far as his actual look, his facial look is a perfect Bruce Wayne. Like, I loved Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne and as Batman. If we're gonna, if you want to talk about that right now, I think that he is collectively
killed it.
Overall, I think he's the best collectively. I liked Christian Bale, but I hated how over the top he was as Batman.
Oh, with the deep groggy voice on Batman.
That threw it. I'm not gonna say I disliked him, but I thought that Val Kilmer was the best well-rounded blend of Bruce Wayne and Batman. And I could be absolutely crazy, but I'll throw another first here too, where I say Robert Pattinson is going to be a fantastic blend of Bruce Wayne and as Batman.
I second that. Honestly, I know I have my quips about Robert Pattinson, but I agree, man. I think he's definitely going to pull off Bruce Wayne for sure. I think he can definitely pull off Bruce Wayne. After having this talk now, like, I know I said before that I don't think he could maybe pull off the whole Bruce Wayne bad boy playboy, but you know what? You've kind of convinced me. Like, I think he will pull off Bruce Wayne really well, because I think he'd pull off Batman really well. And I don't see why. You know what? I'm on the Robert Pattinson train now. Darn it! All right, guys. Yeah, I'm on the Robert Pattinson train. I'm excited to see him. Yeah, for real, right? I'm excited to see it. I'm all about people coming up. And maybe we'll see that this is actually his true role. Remember, we were talking earlier. I said I haven't seen some actors in their true roles as regards to like the whole Game of Thrones recasting. What if this is actually what Robert Pattinson was meant to do? We won't know, but I don't know, man. I have a good feeling. I'm glad that we're releasing all these superhero stuff, because I love it. I love this stuff, man.
It's fun, and the best part about superhero movies is that it's all fantasy.
Yep.
Mixed, and there are some blurred lines with reality, but it's where you can just disconnect from everything that's going on and just get completely immersed in these universes, whether it's DC or Marvel or The Walking Dead, like all of these things that are not like factual, that don't happen. You could just get completely immersed in these and not have a care in the world.
Yep, I agree. Like, it's a nice little I wouldn't say escape, that sounds pretty bad, but it's a nice little means of just, I don't know, connecting with oneself, because maybe you self-identify with some heroes in retrospect, like as their normal selves. Like, case in point, Barry is a super nerd. He's a CSI. He's into all that stuff. I'm not really into the CSI stuff, but I'm a super nerd. I'm a super geeky guy. I'd like to think I'm decently smart. So I relate to Barry a little bit. Barry was picked on. I was picked on. Barry loves to run. I love to run. So I just, when I was growing up, the Flash was my favorite superhero. And that's why I have it tatted on my chest, because it's just reading those comics when I was younger. It just brought some stuff to light for me as a kid, made me happy as a kid, and that's why the Flash will always be my favorite DC hero, number one, because no matter what, people underestimate him at every turn, and he proves to people that, listen, I can do what you say I can't do times a million. So it goes to show that, like, no matter how much you're, torn down, people don't believe in you, whatever, they keep telling you you can't do something. If you firmly believe you can do it, you can, you know. And even though it's a comic book thing, it kind of resonates with kids too. Like, you know, some of my friends who've read comics, they'll agree, you know, that a lot of these superheroes are meant to inspire people, you know, take you away from the whole like negative world stuff that's going on. You know, yeah, you can't forget what's going on in the world, but this is a nice little way of you remembering what people can be. Like in these comics, they always refer back to like the humans and how like, oh, you need to give humans a chance. They can change this and that. We as people can change. We as people can make things happen. We as people need to stop hating one another and work together. Like in these comic book stuff, like, okay, so Batman can do stuff by himself in Gotham City. Flash can do stuff by himself in Central City. Okay, cool. What's his name? Green Lantern can do stuff better in Coast City. Like, that's cool and all. But if something is going wrong with the world, which nowadays there is, a lot of stuff is going wrong, global warming, so much crime, so much the hatred. If you come together, case in point, like the Justice League, I know this sounds a little cheesy, but it's just, it makes sense. If you come together like how we should as society, why couldn't we progress? Why couldn't we fix the issues that are going on? Why couldn't we become more advanced as they did back in the day in the ancient Mayan days, where they were a little bit more advanced, I take it, than we are now? So we've regressed. How is that possible? You know? So like, what? It's just like the creators of these comics and everything, they had like the right idea in mind. Yeah, obviously they, you know, wanted to make money too, but I firmly believe a lot of them, they just loved, you know, they wanted something to believe in. And a lot of people just need something to believe in to, you know, take them away from all this hatred, take them away from all this like anger and just unrelenting negativity, you know? And I personally think that that's what maybe these guys had in mind, just to, you know, help people out, you know. I know we kind of got off topic a little bit, but that just kind of like came into my mind. I had to keep going.
there's still symmetry, you know. There's symmetry and there's parallels between the between comics and between reality, just like you said. I mean, it's not, you know, there's nothing wrong with resonating with a superhero and, you know, and noticing different things about yourself that are similar to that of the Flash or Batman or Iron Man or any superhero you could name. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Now, like, if you look at Mario and Luigi and see something, then we've got a different conversation, right?
Yeah, for real, dude.
But there's
jumping on turtles all day.
Right? Yeah, you're just okay, whatever. Run with your plunger, bro. But there's nothing wrong with being able to use something like comic books as a catalyst for, like, look, these guys have been around forever, whether they're real or not. Like, these characters have been forever. They've been written about since well before you and I were around, and they'll be written about, you know, well after you and I are around.
Yeah, for real.
If these people who have had hundreds of different writers, hundreds of different visions, can stay true to that, then why can't we stay true to each other as human beings?
Exactly my point.
So you're
Fantasy or not, why can't we?
Crazy. More knowledge. More knowledge by Robbie on here.
And man, I think a lot about things. I get wrapped up in my own head, especially like when I'm working between jobs, and it's just, you know, there's no outlet for me to really, you know, talk to people about this, you know, because when I try to talk to some people about it who, you know, say they're friends, it's crazy how, you know, you have friends and then they're like, well, yeah, oh yeah, I support you, and then they don't really want to hear what you have to say, you know. But right. Then there are those people who will listen, you know, and who want to hear something like this and who need to hear something like this, you know, like just to get through their day, just to get through their week, or just to literally give them the extra oomph to go do whatever it is that they need to do to take their life to the next level. So it's nice that you had me on the show, man. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let everybody know where they can find you on social media, how to get to your YouTube channel. I have you bookmarked. I'm subscribed to you, so I don't know your actual URL for YouTube. So people can just continue listening to you, and because I'm not going to be able to get you on here every single time you and I want to talk, because life happens, right?
Yeah, for real.
so people can listen to you because you've got some damn good opinions, and you actually put some thought into them before just going off the rip.
Yeah, man. You got to think a little bit before you talk about certain things, because it's easy to offend people nowadays.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately.
Yeah, man. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, so where can everybody find you? And find your music too, because you're a damn good musician.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate that, dude. I've actually taken a little hiatus from it. Not that I'm gonna stop music, because that's not enough. Music's in my blood. Like, come on. But there was just so much things going on, and I'm working on different avenues. So I will eventually get back to music. I just need to establish some things first, and this is definitely one of them. But yeah, on social media, my YouTube is just type in The Big Rob Theory, and you will find me. Like, I should pop right up. Obviously, you can tell I'm a big fan of The Big Bang Theory. And honestly, on all my social media, it's The Big Rob Theory. Twitter, at The Big Rob Theory. Instagram, The Big Rob Theory. Snapchat, The Big Rob Theory. So yeah, that's the main way to connect with me. Just type in The Big Rob Theory on pretty much any social media platform. You'll find me. You'll know I'm the guy with the dreads, tattoos, piercings. Yeah. And yeah, man, if you enjoy what I had to say, listeners, if you enjoyed what I had to say, I'd love to connect with any one of you. Definitely follow on YouTube. I'm going to be again doing the Arrowverse, which is entitled Arrow, starting off the whole multiverse universe with Flash, the DC's Legends of Tomorrow, and Supergirl. So I love those series, and I've defended them since day one. One of my best friends actually used to rip on them, and I told him to watch Arrow, and ever since then he loved Arrow. He binge watched it. He watched The Flash. He's watched Legends, watched Supergirl. So these shows are great. They're on the CW, and the CW is a little, has gotten a little cheesy, but there's give and take. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to have the good with the bad, and it's not even that bad. A little cheese isn't bad. So yeah, man, again, thank you so much for having me on your show, and I look forward to definitely conversing with you more, man. If you ever want to talk, let me know, and we can schedule it, bro, because this has been fun, man. I've loved talking to you, because you have similar ideas, and even if they're different, man, it's just nice to converse with someone about this stuff.
And not have a heated conversation about it. That's the biggest thing for me, because people get so bent out of shape if you don't agree with them anymore. And you're like, well,
yeah, it's really bad.
I get some of the feedback I get on my shows is just wow, you went out of your way to type this to me. Hey, thank you for going out of your way and spending. This had to have taken you 15 minutes to come up with. So thank you for the 15 minutes. But you could have just said, I don't agree. You didn't have to scroll through my Instagram and then and talk about oh, you did oh yeah, well, you ate beignets at this place in New Orleans and not that place, so you don't know what you're talking. What? What does that have to do with professional wrestling,
bro? What is wrong with people?
People are nuts, bro. People are absolutely nuts. So Robbie, again, I thank you for coming on, man. I really do. It's been a hell of a good and fun conversation.
No, absolutely, man.
To talk with one of the most vital things that's going on in the movie world right now, because let's face it, Avengers is done. Robert Pattinson has shook up the world when it comes to movies right now. So it had to be talked about. It had to be discussed, and I'm glad that I was able to do it with you.
For sure, man. I would love to talk about anything at any time. As long as I'm not working, we can schedule it. Thanks again for having me on your show, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I love your show, and I appreciate you very much, man.
All right, guys. Robbie Reed, go check out The Big Rob Theory on all of social media's different platforms. Man, what a conversation we had. And I converted him. I flipped this guy from not liking Robert Pattinson to liking Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne and Batman. I do like the idea of the Batman Beyond gimmick that he gave us, Who knows what's gonna happen? Really don't know. I got a lot of cool things coming up. As you guys know, I'm gonna be in the Dominican Republic for a week. Shows are gonna be kind of scarce, but check out my Instagram, Real Danny B, and follow along on the old trip-a-rooski with me. You know the drill. I'll catch you next time.